This edition of the Ridley Report is brought to you by
porkfest.com.
That's punitive. There's no purpose in that but to harm him. Yeah! Make them hurt! Make them hurt!
You guys should be proud of yourselves. Look at what you're doing.
There's no reason to wrench his arms behind his back like that.
I'm going to ask you to put it down for me.
I'm going to respectfully decline. I am audio taping at this time.
Now, a couple interesting things happened. First, I learned an important lesson, what not to do, and also, Judge Edward Burke seemed to offer me a way, really, for us to get what we want in terms of being able to record in the courtroom. Maybe. That was my read on it, but let's go from the beginning here. I'm standing in the lobby of the court, and the folks there seem kind of insistent, like they really need to get me in the courtroom fast and get that arraignment started fast. And I didn't really know why that was, but I was also eager to continue the process. And so I walked straight toward the metal detector, and it didn't really, I thought, well, it's no problem for me to be the first one in. It's, kind of like leading the group. I don't know, I'm not that much of a leader, but I can be the first one in, no big deal. It's not like they were necessarily asking me to do that, but anyway, I show up at the metal detector, take out, my pockets, empty my pockets, submit to screening, and I, made sure not to act angry about that or anything. They wanded me, made sure to have me empty all my pockets. They didn't really check anything else. They didn't make me take my shoes off or anything. Then after I'm through the metal detector, I just sort of stand there, and I remember a couple of cops sort of being there at this point and talking to each other about something. I don't really remember if they were urging me, come on, come into the room or something, but for one reason or another, I ended up in the room sort of by myself, the only activist in there, and everyone else, for one reason or another, it seems was kind of slow to get processed. Well, this is when I start to realize my mistake. The second I step foot into the courtroom, well, the judge is already sitting there. Everyone is already there, like they're waiting for me. And I guess that's why they were in such a rush to get me in there, is that they were all just sort of standing and sitting there waiting for me to enter. And once I'm in the courtroom, they're very insistent I must get up to the front, front. So I walk up to the front where the judge is and everyone else is, and Judge Burke immediately launches into whatever this was, an arraignment, I guess, and he says, we're here to do X, Y, Z, I don't remember what it was exactly, and he asked me, how do I plea? I think he told me what I was charged with, and he says, how do I plea? Right? Maybe I should say, how do I plead? And I said, well, Judge, I'm going to respectfully decline to answer at least some of your questions in protest of your ban on cameras in the courtroom. He said, all right, well, if you want to do something about that, you can file a motion. But until then, the rules will remain in place. So I took that to mean that there's a pretty good chance these rules will be relaxed once we file a motion. Now, I have no idea how to do that. And it was not part of their process previous to November of 2008. However, it seemed possible to me that he was attempting to offer us a way to get what we want, essentially to get back into the courtroom with cameras, or at least one camera. And it would surprise me if such a motion were denied, although who knows what he's talking about. I mean, if he's talking about a motion, with Keene District Court, then I think it would probably, who knows. But he could be talking about making a motion to higher courts or something like that, which who knows what they would do. But my guess is that he would be, perfectly happy to find a mutually acceptable way out of this. And my guess is also that if we do what he asks and file a motion the way we do over at Manchester District Court, then cameras will come back in. Of course, on our end, there's no particular urgency in drawing the situation to a close, as it seems to be breaking just fine our way. But perhaps a motion would be useful at some point. Maybe if somebody wants to, they can file one in relation to the May 1st arraignments that will be happening to Andrew Carroll and Mike Barsky. Anyway, at this point, the judge set a trial date for me of June 22nd, and he said some stuff I didn't really understand about how to pick up the paperwork. He seemed to say that he could either I could pick it up there at the court, or I could have it delivered to me, which would be better. And I said, well, I don't really understand what it means picking it. Where do I pick it up exactly? Over at the window over there or something like that? And I still didn't really understand where they wanted me to pick it up. So they got to thinking, well, maybe we should just mail it to him. So well, can we just mail it to you at this address? And I said, well, again, like I said, I'm respectfully going to decline to answer at least some of your questions in protest of your ban on cameras in the courtroom. But he asked me again. He said, is this your correct address? And then I said again, I'm going to respectfully decline to answer some of your questions, and yada, yada. So finally, I don't remember what happened after that. He ended up getting up and leaving. And maybe, actually, as I recall, I think he just said that I needed to pick it up at the court or something like that. But so the judge left, and I really don't remember very much about him leaving. There wasn't anything memorable about it. He was just there, and then he was gone. And the bailiffs, now they were really eager to get me out of the courtroom, it seemed like. And by this time, there were a couple of activists standing behind me, and they had finally gotten in. And the bailiff kind of, he didn't grab me, but he sort of grabbed me by the arm, not hard or anything like that. Kind of to lead me out of the courtroom. And I said, well, I don't know. I'm just going to stay here just a little longer, if that's all right. I wasn't really quite ready to leave yet. Some of my friends are here. I was going to have a seat here. It's a have-a-seat court, after all. And so they kind of let me do that. And there I am, and more people are coming into the courtroom. And I ended up being glad that I stayed, because more things happened. And I'll pick up those in a future report, which I'll link to it from this one, but this is to be continued.
Porkfest.com Porkfest.com
Porcupine Fest happens every summer. It's your chance to experience America's freest state and its most effective liberty movement.